In 1953, the leading tobacco executives conspired together to meet at the Plaza Hotel to do damage control after photos of rats with tumors were published. Could you explain this meeting and the key statements made by the tobacco executives relating to addiction and cancer?
Sure. The industry leaders got together, the heads of every company and their scientific research directors got together. As you mentioned, some front page news regarding the fact that tobacco condensate, some tar that was made from tobacco smoke, was painted onto rats, and those rats grew tumors. This was a couple of years after some other studies showed that a huge percentage of the men who were getting lung cancer were heavy cigarette smokers. So it was kind of the two things together. For some reason, the rats had a huge impact. When people could actually look at a newspaper and look at a magazine cover and see a rat with tumors on its back, it caused some panic among cigarette smokers. And really for the first time in the 50 years of the modern cigarette, there was a slight dip in the sales of cigarettes. So these people got together at the Plaza Hotel in New York City with Hill and Knowlton, a large, very reputable public relations firm, to try to decide how to deal with this issue. And the statements at the time, especially by the research directors of the industry, were things like, "It's lucky for us, it's a habit they can't break," indicating that way back then in the early 50s they knew how addictive cigarettes were. Another of the scientific research directors said, "Just think if we could be the first company to make a cancer-free cigarette, what we could do to the competition." And again, an admission by the head of the research department that their cigarettes were causing cancer. There's no need to create a cancer-free cigarette if your cigarettes aren't causing cancer in the first place. From that period forward for 50 years until about the year 2000, when they were forced to, the industry never once admitted that their products caused any harm whatsoever to human beings. For nearly 50 years after they knew clearly, they read those studies, they reached the conclusion that the studies were right, that the rats got cancer because of the components of the cigarette smoke. To the industry very early on that nearly 90% of everyday smokers, of people who are addicted to nicotine, begin smoking as teenagers. I believe the number is 87% begin smoking before their 18th birthday. Nearly 95% begin before their 21st birthday. If they don't get someone smoking as a teenager, their business is basically going to dissolve. It's going to fold. There are reasons for that. I mean, the human brain is still developing when you're that age. Not only do you have all the peer pressure that comes with being a teenager and trying to be cool and trying to be like your friends, but your brain is very, very susceptible to addictive substances. It also develops new.
And according to this nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. Try Camels yourself, the cigarette so many doctors enjoy.
The Flintstones has been brought to you by Winston, America's best-selling, best-tasting filter cigarette.
Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
Smoke, smoke, smoke that cigarette. Puff, puff, puff.
And if you puff yourself to death, tell St. Peter at the Golden Gate that you just hate making way, but you gotta have another cigarette.
What changes are you most proud of as a result of tobacco litigation?
The change, the little stupid things that I did with the Medicaid Recovery Act. It would have been, as I guess it's Professor Daynard said, it was the most significant piece of health care legislation ever passed in this country. That more people have been saved as a result of some little, I'm trying to think where I was when I did it, and just some stupid little thing that I did was that significant that saving 100,000 lives each year is. So that would, far and away, is probably the most significant thing I've ever done in my life.